Hey gang, Larry Bailey here with Awesome Technologies Inc., bringing you another weekly newsletter. Today is January 16th, 2024. We are going to review the week of January 8th, 2024. Before we get there, of course, we want to thank our friends at MBS Highway, your trusted source for mortgage market intelligence, which is where all this information comes from. And I also want to thank my company, Awesome Technologies Inc. The reality is, if you're using Encompass, or you're using Byte, or you're using Meridian Link, or you're using Open Close, give us a call. Reach out. I guarantee we're doing something that can help you that you're probably not doing today, whether it's automation, whether it's workflow review, whether it's coming up with correct ways for you to leverage your existing platform without having to buy anything new. It's kind of what we do. We keep it affordable. Let us know how we can help you. You can always reach out to me directly using larry@atihelps.com, or you can call the office at 877-284-4968. So let's get into this week of January 8th, 2024 in review. Listen, inflation continues to make progress lower while home prices nationwide are on the rise. Here's the latest week's headlines. First story is annual core consumer inflation falls below 4%. It's good, you would think. Wholesale inflation lower than expected is the next story. Following that is a story for home prices continue to move higher. Last but not least, holiday season impact jobless claims. So first story is annual core consumer inflation falls below 4%. Now, if you're watching online, you can see all the text as we go through, including the great images brought from MBS Highway, or in this case also the Bureau of Labor Statistics. If you're listening to this on podcast, thank you very much. You can always head over to mortgage.community and check on the video if you want to follow along on screen. So what the story here is that inflation rose 0.3% from November to December per the Consumer Price Index, also known as CPI. CPI also rose from 3.1% to 3.4% on an annual basis, though this is still near the lowest level in almost 3 years. The core CPI, which strips out the volatile food and energy prices, increased 0.3%, while the annual reading fell from 4% to 3.9%. This was the first time the core CPI fell below 4% in over 2 years, which, again, you would think is really great. Here's the side of this, though. Rising costs for energy, used cars, and motor vehicle insurance all contributed to the increase in inflation last month. Higher shelter costs were also a factor, though these have been moderating based on other reports, which should help inflation move even lower once the reporting catches up. Bottom line here for this story, gang, is inflation has made significant progress lower after peaking in 2022, with the headline reading sitting now at 3.4%. It was down from 9.1%, and the core reading, which is at 3.9% now, still down from 6.6%. So it's good to remember that the Fed began aggressively hiking rates, the Fed funds rate, which again is the overnight borrowing rate for banks to the Fed. That they started aggressively hiking those rates in March of 2022 to try to slow the economy and curb runaway inflation. Following 11 rate hikes in this cycle, the Fed pressed pause at their last 3 meetings in 2023. All signs of cooling inflation. As signs of inflation cooling. So will this progress we've seen recently on the inflation be enough for the Fed to shift from rate hikes to pausing to rate cuts later this year, as many economists expect? We don't know. We will have to see. So the next story is wholesale inflation lower than expected. So this is all about the producer price index, known as the PPI. That measures the inflation at the wholesale level, and that fell 0.1% in December, coming in below the expected 0.1% rise. On an annual basis, the PPI rose from an anemic 0.8% to 1%, also lower than expected. The core PPI, which strips out volatile food and energy prices, was flat for the month, with a year-over-year reading down from 2% to 1.8%. Bottom line here, gang, is the latest PPI report is one more indicator, and it's an encouraging sign that inflation is easing, with December's 1% year-over-year reading a sharp drop from 2022's 11.7% peak. Plus, lower producer inflation also leads to lower consumer inflation if these savings are passed on to consumers. We shall see about that. So this next story is home prices continue to move higher. Quote, home price appreciation continued to push forward in November despite the new highs in mortgage rates seen over the year, close quote. This is per CoreLogic's chief economist, Dr. Selma Hepp. Their home price index showed that home prices nationwide rose 0.2% from October to November, hitting a new all-time high for the seventh straight month. Prices were also 5.2% higher than in November 2022. CoreLogic forecasts that home prices will fall 0.2% in December and rise 2.5% in the year going forward, though their forecasts tend to be on the conservative side historically. In fact, CoreLogic's index is on pace for 7% appreciation in 2023 based upon readings for the first 11 months of last year. The bottom line here from all this data, gang, is the latest rise in home prices reported by CoreLogic echoes the strong growth seen by other major indices like the ones we've talked about, which are Case-Shiller and the Federal Housing Finance Agency. These reports continue to demonstrate why homeownership remains a good opportunity to build wealth if you can find the houses. If you can find the houses. Supply is obviously not mentioned in this story, but home prices continue to move higher because people need to find a place to live. And if there's no supply, supply and demand dictate typically the cost of something. That's typically how economics work. So we need more supply, people. Here's the next story. Holiday season impact on jobless claims. The initial jobless claim declined by 1,000 in the latest week as 202,000 people filed for unemployment benefits for the very first time. Continuing claims also fell by 34,000, with 1.834 million people still receiving benefits after filing their initial claim. Bottom line here in this story is initial jobless claims are historically lower during holiday season as layoffs tend to wane before Christmas and New Year's. And while continuing claims have moved lower over the last few weeks, they're still elevated and suggest it's becoming harder for people to find employment as they're let go, which sucks. Family hack of this week, Sunday, January 21st. That's this Sunday coming up. Hey, did you know it's going to be National Granola Bar Day? I didn't either, but here goes the recipe. This homemade version from the Food Network makes an easy and delicious afternoon snack or breakfast on the go. It yields 48 bars. You're going to preheat that oven to 325 degrees Fahrenheit. You're going to line a 15-inch by 10-inch rimmed baking sheet with foil and coat it with some cooking spray. In a large bowl, mix 2.5 cups rolled or quick cooking oats, 1 cup dry roasted peanuts, 1/2 cup raisins, 1/2 cup cranberries, 1/2 cup sunflower seeds, and 1.5 teaspoons of cinnamon, 1 1/4 ounce canned sweetened condensed milk, 1 stick melted unsalted butter. Put all that stuff together. Spread it evenly on the baking sheet and bake until golden, approximately 45 minutes. Cool slightly, then use the foil to lift off the baking sheet and invert onto a cutting board. Peel that foil off, cut into bars, and then wrap individually in plastic wrap. And then go eat them on Sunday, January 21st, National Granola Bar Day. Here's what we're looking for this week besides these granola bars. After the market closures yesterday, Monday, in honor of Martin Luther King Jr. holiday, housing data highlights this week calendar. Wednesday brings builder confidence this month from National Association of Home Builders. And if you're looking up here, MBS Highways got an alert to lock earlier today from about noon, and the market's down 29 basis points on the 30-year 6% coupon. What does that mean? It means that this builder confidence went in the toilet, and it really spooked a lot of people. We'll see how December's housing starts and building permits come out on Thursday, and existing home sales will be delivered on Friday. Also of note, look for December's retail sales on Wednesday. It's tomorrow, and the latest jobless claims on Thursday. My name's Larry Bailey. Thank you very much, and anything I can help you with in mortgage banking whatsoever, whether it's workflow or technology, just reach out to me. Larry@atihelps.com. I'll see you now. Bye-bye.